Folks, welcome to Secrets of Power! That is right, I hope you all are celebrating happily as Secrets of Power is officially here in the TCG, the 6th set of Star Wars Unlimited. A set based around plotting, based around disclosing, and based around political power! Secrets of Power! That is right, folks. I'm back once again, busting another booster box for you all. I think we busted a booster box for every single set now, so it just makes sense. We got to keep busting more of these open. Show you all the cards inside and all of that. And look at the nice box art as well. So once again, we got more. We got 24 more new packs to open. I've already busted open one booster box. It was a pretty good booster box. I got some good legendaries out of it. But I, of course, bought 2 boosters. And then 2 of the Spotlight, which we've already reviewed. That is popping right now in YouTube for you all if you're curious about what the Spotlights look like and my thoughts on the leaders. As well as a future video where we're going to bust open 2 Carbonites for this set. I am hyped for the Carbonites, let me tell you. But anyways, 24 packs in here. Let's see what we get. Once again, Legendaries. In the first box, I cracked about 6 Legendaries, so we should be expecting about 6 or 7 Legendaries per booster. Once again, as a reminder, if you're someone who's played back or saw Legendaries from set 1, 2, and 3, where the pull rates were like horrible to pull Legendaries, you might pull like 2 or 3 per booster. The pull rates are completely different now. You're guaranteed more chance to pull Legendaries than you are the rares. So the rares get a little harder to pull. Well, the Legendaries got a little easier to pull, which I'm not going to lie, I think that is pretty nice. As well as we are looking for showcases in these. I've never pulled a showcase in a main booster. I pulled them from Carbonites. I have not pulled them from a main booster. As a reminder, the only way to get a showcase back in the day was through a booster. So, X-Acto knife to cut the film away. Just a nice look at the box art here. So we of course got Mr. Jabba the Hutt, which got a leader, Mon Mothma, which had a leader, Cassian Andor got a leader, C-3PO leader. I'm surprised they decided to give us the little chase scene from Attack of the Clones, where Obi-Wan and Anakin are chasing down Zamwello, who was hired, of course, to kill Princess Amidala, or Padme. So, yeah, so it's a little interesting. So we got Coruscant, we got Grand Moff Tarkin there. We got, of course, Luthen Rao's Hallcraft here. And on the back, we, of course, have some look at the cards that are kind of be coming in the set, as well as a Dark Trooper. So, with that said, let's bust open the box, flip down the little screen, and then there's our 24 packs. So you know how I like to do it. I like to show you the pack art as we have Cassian Andor, Mon Mothma, and Jabba the Hutt as our pack arts, of course, for you also. That is our pack arts here, so we are going to, of course, start off with a good old Cassian Andor right here. So anyways, once again, if you've busted, here's the breakdown of the pack for you all. 1 leader, 1 base / token. As a reminder, there are no rare bases in this, so they're only commons, which is pretty nice. So it sounds like what Fantasy Flight's going to do is every couple of sets, they're not going to release a rare base, and then a set they'll release some rare bases, much like the legendary cards they're going to do. Every couple of sets they're not going to release legendary cards, but they will release them about every couple of sets there won't be, and then another set there will be. So that way they're not burning through all the legacy stuff for Star Wars Unlimited. In LOF we got KOTOR 1. I will say the Legends cards from this set are KOTOR 2. So Dark Turia, Dark Scion, and Dark Nihilus all got cards in this one. So it's a little sad they didn't give us the protagonist from KOTOR 2 as like a leader or a card, but I guess they can always do that later. So continuing on with the rest of the cards, we have 1 base / token. The tokens in here are Spies and Experience. There is no Shield Art tokens. 9 commons, 3 uncommons, 1 rare or legendary, and 1 premium foil. So the foil can be any card in the set, so it could be a legendary, could be a rare, uncommon, common. It cannot be a base, as there are no hollow bases. And our first leader will be Mon Mothma, a leader I'm already looking to play around with a little bit. So anyways, Mon Mothma is one of our many, I think now the third leader in the game. We have Hera, we have Nala Se, and I think now Mon Mothma as well. That now states ignore the aspect penalty on non-villainy official units. So anyone that is vigilant, as long as they're heroic, it doesn't matter if they're vigilance, aggression, or cunning. If they have the official's trait in them, Mon Mothma can play them without the penalty. She's much like what Hera does and Nala Se does, where clones and specters can get played without ignoring their aspect penalties. She flips for 5 for 3/7, and then ignore the aspect penalty again on non-villainy official units, and then each other friendly official gets +0. So basically, she buffs the official's base defense. So I do really want to play with this. I think there's some things you could do here with like doing like a unity and figure and a unity in purpose style Mon Mothma deck. We have Rick's Road base, and then we have Knowledge and Defense, Senator's Aid, Nimble Prowess, the Budget Scheming. I joked about this when I was talking about it. You got 2 of these, and the Chancellor starter deck. I like the art here where it's the Emperor, and then you have Krennic, Tarkin, and then Thrawn all discussing budgeting, because that's what everyone's favorite topic was in Star Wars, budgeting the Empire. Then we have the Emissary's Stealthopede, Contempt of Culture, Ambition's Rewards. I do like that the Cassian Andor TV series got a lot of support, lot of cards in here that they're really nice arts too. So if you're a fan of that show, a lot of those cards, a lot of that stuff did get cards in this set. Like Deidre, who was the ISB agent hunting down Cassian, did get a leader in this set. Starhopper, Canyon Runner, ASP, Laborer, Vigilant Commando, a really strong, I expect to see very much meta-viable card in Aggression Heroic that states when this unit deals combat damage to a base, you may defeat the unit to deal 3 damage to that base. So in essence, this unit as a 3/3 can deal 6 damage to a base in 1 attack. I think this is going to be very much a very meta-viable card that can win games on that spot because of that extra 3 damage. We got Hunter, Diplomatic Immunity, which I think is a pretty cool card here. I joke that it's a really good card to put under the Cassian Andor Legendary from this set, because when this unit is attacked, you may disclose 2 Vigilance and 2 Heroic. Again, the disclose mechanic on it states that you can disclose this as command as Vigilance and Heroic, and that does count for your cost. So you could easily disclose 2 cards with this double coloring on it, and then you would meet the cost. And then what I like about it is if you do, the attacker gets -2 for the attack. So basically you can throw this under a Sentinel and make that Sentinel a whole lot tougher to kill off, because the attacker loses 2 attack points, which is pretty nice. Trade Route Taxation. Choose an opponent. If you control more units than an opponent, they can't play events for this phase, which I think is a pretty funny card. I could definitely see it being played in a little bit in Twin Suns to screw over one of your opponents. And it does have Plot, the other big mechanic from this set that's very similar to Smuggle, except Smuggle has a cost to play them out of your resources. Plot can only be played out the turn that your leader is flipped, and then when you flip your leader, you can play as many plot cards as you want up to the remaining resources. Just be mindful that when you do that, every single time you do it, the plot card replaces itself with a rested resource on the top of your deck. So I think there could be some weird decks where you could do like a plot smuggle deck, so that you could plot where you could smuggle, like if a plot card happens to hit a smuggle card, then you can put it into your resources as a smuggle. But yeah, so when you deploy your leader, you may play this card from your resource, paying its cost, replace the top card of your deck. So when you deploy your leader, basically then you get to play as many plot cards, as many active resources as you have. And then we have a Hollow Convene the Senate. Search top 8 cards of your deck for up to 2 officials, reveal them and draw them, and then basically put the others on the bottom of your deck in a random order, and then create a spy token. The big whole mechanic of this is also to create spy tokens. That's the name of the game, and this set is spies. Governor Price really wants you to spam spy tokens because of her ability to get a +1 for each token on the board. So yeah, so it's a really neat card there, as well as it's really good for not only Mon Mothma, it's good for anybody that wants to play the villainy officials as well, because there are a lot of villainy cards are officials as well, so you can go grab those. Next on the docket, we got Slymore for you all. So Slymore states, action, tap 1, Pay 1, tap her if there are 4 or more exhausted units in play, create a spy token. I don't know how often you're going to be able to get that off, but still, if you had like a bunch of spy tokens on the board at one time, you could easily do that. 5 more resources, flip her over. She's a 3/6 on attack, may deal 2 damage to exhausted unit, which I think is a whole lot better. I think that ability is going to come in a lot of, because yellow already has a lot of natural exhaustion in the color, especially even before especially because we still have all the cards from the older sets as well. So we have like Outmaneuver from Spark Rebellion that can just exhaust one battlefield and exhaust it all. So yeah, I like the art as well with her Slimemoor being covered by the 2 guarded by the 2 Death Troopers, which is pretty cool. But nonetheless, a pretty neat card. Another Nyx Road. We have a legendary card in the Lost Jedi. Remember, legendaries now is this gold border down here with a giant L at the end of it, if you've never seen it. A little hard to miss it from set 5, but still, if you've never seen it, or you're new to Star Wars Unlimited and it's your first set, legendary cards means that they're from the legacy of Star Wars. KOTOR is not considered canon to Star Wars. It is considered legacy to Star Wars. Diplomatic Envoy, Dahani Pilgrim, Rexarian Assembly, Grassroot Resistance, Ewoks! Ewoks! Unfortunately, we did not get an Ewok leader nor any Ewok units, but we got Ewoks in a card art that states deal 3 damage to unit, heal 3 damage for base. I think that could be something that some people might play around with. Corellian Hounds, Kriya's Whispers, just a good card. Keep this in mind, especially if you're yellow, for 2 cards to draw 3, and then you put 2 cards on top of your deck. From your hand on top your deck, another one in the bottom of your deck. Still, that is still a +1 for drawing 3 and just getting a +1 cannot be understated. Supreme Council Aid, more First Order stuff. If you're a big First Order player and a Captain a Phasma player, you have more cards. Sudden Ferocity, 𝐂𝐍𝐍𝐄. I do like the art of this Kaz. It's kind of like, I don't know. He also has a promo in this set as well. The weekly play promos, he does have one. Renowned Dignitaries, Ela Kane. We got The Mandalorian. As much as I'm going to say, because anything else may get me copyright claimed from Disney. So anyways, I really like The Mandalorian. If you didn't know, the capture mechanic is back in the game. If you're new to the game and you started in JTL or started with LOF, you probably don't know what the capture mechanic is. Capture was a mechanic that we got in Shadows of the Galaxy, that you can capture, basically take one of your opponent's cards based on the effect of your capture and then slip it under one of your guys's, respectively. So basically it's capture. Then we had cards that could uncapture cards and all that. So the Mandalorian is an 8/6/8 that has ambush, and when this unit attacks and defeats a unit, choose an enemy non-leader unit. That unit captures it, so it can be in the space or in the ground, which is really nice. And not mentioning, he doesn't have to capture a unit he attacked. He can just go swing over a little body, or swing in your opponent's leader, or kill something on the board. It doesn't matter what it is, and then just take anything else. So your opponent got a big thing over here, just take that away from them, which is pretty nice. It's a really cool card there. Glad to get a copy of it. And then we have a Hyperspace Hollow Heroic Arc 170 that states 4/4/3 that states when played, if you control a damaged unit, you may deal 2 damage to an enemy unit. Pretty good for some interesting strategies like, say, Luke Skywalker from JTL. Jabba the Hutt. Yes, Jabba the Hutt got a new leader. He came out in Shadows of the Galaxy and he was more of like a bounty leader. This time he's completely different. And also I think that leader was 212. This one's 28 on his backside. Action, pay 1. Tap him. A friendly damage unit deals 1 damage to an enemy unit. If the friendly unit has 3 or more damage on it, it deals 2 damage instead. So a very interesting concept of a deck I think some people are going to play around with, of being able to damage your units enough to get this to go off. So I can see a lot of grit. I can see Jabba being played with a lot of grit units. Indeed, I think he's going to be playing with a lot of grit. Now, how you get that extra damage points on them, that's up for debate. And then he flips for 5. He's 2/8. When another friendly unit is dealt damage and survives, you may have that unit deal that much damage to an enemy unit. Use this ability only once per once each round. So once you burn Jabba's ability, it's pretty much done and over with. Jabba's done what he needed to do. I like his backside though. His backside's a lot of fun. If you can get it on a grit leader or a grit unit and you can punch and take a whole bunch of damage on your grit unit and then have that same amount of damage go to something else, is pretty nice. Definitely something to keep your eye on. I think this leader has some playability. I think he's going to play around with a lot of grit units. Also, just to say, the Death Troopers did get a reprint in here, so that's also a really nice unit to kind of play around with him, because you automatically be able to get that one damage on an enemy, that damage already on one of your units, as well as, again, like I said, I think Grit playing with him is really nice. We have the Mountain Tantus, yellow base. Well, I did speak about the Death Troopers. The Death Troopers did get a reprint in here. I think of cards that got reprinted was the Rebel Pathfinder for Spark Rebellion, the Death Trooper from Spark Rebellion, and Shadows of the Galaxy, because they did get a print in Shadows of the Galaxy. And the ISB agent from Spark Rebellion also got a reprint in this set as well. So we have 3 more cards printed from older sets that got a reprint in here. So these will be viable, as well as their Spark Rebellion counterparts, as well as the promo play counterparts from Spark Rebellion as well, because they all basically are the exact same Death Trooper from Spark Rebellion. That's the exact same Death Trooper as Secrets of Power. So as a reminder, if you've never rotated before or never dealt with rotation, this symbol down here tells you what rotation we're in. We're going to be in rotation A. So any card with the name that is the exact same card as this one, i.e. the Spark Rebellion one, i.e. the Shadow of the Galaxy one, i.e. the promo play from Spark Rebellion, any one of those cards that is this Death Trooper can still be played in rotation, because technically they're all still the exact same card. So don't be fret if you like your promo play Death Troopers from Spark Rebellion. Now you can play them in post-rotation. Imperial Dark Trooper, Senate Warden, Pursue the Lead, Venomous Shadow Fighter. I forget what this battle was, but I'm glad we got a couple cards from this major battle in Star Wars The Clone Wars. This is when we first met Pong Krell and then watched him traitor the Republic. Remote Escort Tank, Academy Disciplinarian, Biguel, this is just your now, we got Waylay at Home, everybody. Basically, it's like Waylay, but it can only return a 6 cost or less unit to your own's hand, and it also looks at your opponent's hand as well. Grassroots Resistance, Masmada, Muckraker Crab Droid, B2EMO, or B2ME0, I think it's supposed to be O. The Ebon Hawk, a really nice card, so if you're, again, a fan of KOTOR, here's your great ship, the Ebon Hawk. On attack, you can disclose a heroic and or villainy, so you can disclose both. If you disclose heroic, this unit gets +2/+0. For this attack, if you disclose villainy, they give the defender -4/-0. So a really cool card indeed. And then a Hollow Lost Jedi. We got another Mon Mothma for you all. We've already checked her out. Another Mount Titus, Senate Warden, Feed Security, Populous Champion. I did actually forget the Probe Droid. The Viper Probe Droid got reprinted in this set as well. So Viper Probe Droid fans, rejoice. It's printed back in the game again. And it's a hyperspace as well. Kutch Unawares, Assassin's Probe, Contraband Starhopper, the ISB Agent, which like I said, got reprinted. There we go. They're just moving all around. Great Veteran, Sinister Chuchi, Deidre Mero, Beryl Organa, Major Partags, which is really good. Again, really good for if you're going to play in the villainy tag, because like I said, the villainy tag for officials does have some pretty good officials as well. It's Overwhelm, and then when another friendly official unit attacks, this unit gets +2/+2 for the phase. I can also see him being played in Mon Mothma, even though Mon Mothma can't ignore the aspect penalty of that villainy, so you'd have to pay him on a 4-cost turn. But I mean, every time an official unit attacks, he just is going to be able to get +2/+2/+2/+2. So this guy can get pretty big, mattering on the amount of officials you attack. So I could see this being played out of aspect in Mothma, because Mothma is going to be able to play so many officials. And then a Hollow Feed Security. We got a new leader in Luthen Raoul, a leader I actually want to give a full try to. I think I'm going to like this leader a little bit, because I do like actually punching face a lot of time instead of punching the base. Luthen Raoul, states on his front side, when a friendly unit is defeated while attacking, you may exhaust this leader. If you do, deal 1 damage to a unit or a base. Really, really nice. So basically, he's all about punching all your stuff into your opponent. Just punching straight into their stuff. Who cares about the base? You want to punch your opponent in the face. And then on his backside, he flips for 5. He has 2/7. When a friendly unit is defeated while attacking, you may deal 2 damage to a unit or base. So basically, you want to flip them over and then punch your opponent's board. Just keep their board clean of units while they're attacking, and then basically just deal 2 damage to your opponent's base. So I like this leader. Definitely going to give him a hearty try to see what I can build up with him, because there are some good cards like Podameron, K2SO, stuff. Even the Cassian Andor Smuggle is really good for him and all that. So really cool stuff I think you can do with this leader, 100%. The Senate Rotunda base, Rexarian Assembly, Congress of Magistrate, Beloved Orator, a Lurking Snub Fighter Hyperspace, Corellian Hounds, Kira's Whispers, Supreme Council Aid, Sudden Ferocity, Catch Unawares, Creditor's Claim, Convene the Senate, The Wrong Ride, and our first legendary is Let's Talk. Not a legendary I really wanted to see. I've already opened one of these. If I could have any other legendary, I would have it, like Obi-Wan Kenobi from this set, Director Krennic. Let's Talk is not exactly a legendary. This legendary is going to see a quick drop in price once this set officially drops through the TCG, and give it about a month, this card will be cheap. So Let's Talk is when a friendly unit left play this phase, the event costs 3 less. So technically, if you killed something or some unit left, if one of your units left played for some strange for any reason, you could then pay 3 less, so you can get it for 6. Each friendly unit captures an enemy non-leader unit in that same arena. So basically, if you have both arenas, base and ground, you basically can grab everything from that arena to that respective area. So you're not choosing one arena to grab everything, you're basically choosing both arenas are at threat with Let's Talk. But is it good? I don't know. I think it's way too high costed for what it can do. Because technically, the only way to get it down to 6 costs is you have to have a unit to left play. And then if you're not really, say for instance, you're playing a JTL leader, and the JTL leader is playing in space, but you don't have enough space units, you're not really going to be able to really use this card. So it's beyond situational if it actually will ever see play. It's still a fun card. I think it could do some interesting things. Is it good? Not really. And then we have a Enforcer Squadron Hollow. We got Lama Su, our other comedian. We already have Nala Say, now we have Lama Su in the game as well. So Lama Su is action, tap him, pay an upgrade from your hand onto a friendly non-vehicle unit. It costs 1 less. If you do, deal 1 damage to that unit. Really good to play on some grit units so you can start up that grit ability. And then add action, 6 or more resources to deploy this leader. So he deploys on 6 for 3/7, and then when this unit completes an attack and survives, you may play an upgrade from your discard pile on a friendly non-vehicle unit. It costs 1 less. A very interesting leader. It's really an upgrade leader that really wants to upgrade and do stuff like that. So I think there's going to be some interesting playability, especially like stuff with constructed lightsaber, other upgrades like the upgrades we have in here, like the villainy one, Creditor's Claim, and then we of course have all the other upgrades like, Hot Shot Blaster, everything like that, being able to just like reduce its cost and even put it on Lama Su. Its front side, definitely put it on a lot of your grit stuff and then kind of play around with it. So I think there's some interesting playability with this leader for sure. He's basically just an upgrade spam leader, but still very interesting. Senate Rotunda. Then we have With a Thunderous Applause. So this is how democracy dies. With a thunderous applause. Leaf Request. Ferrex Uprising. Unauthorized Investigation. Lurking Snub Fighter. Inspector Shuttle. Enforcer Squadron. Bogged Down in Procedure. The Sith Assassin. Another legendary right there for you all. A 2/3/2 hidden, which is really good. The Galleon. Charged with Espionage. I like this one. Disclose Double Cunning. If you do, look at your opponent's hand and discard a unit from it. Really, really good card right there. Muckraker Crab Droid Hyperspace. One Way Out, which is the chant after Cassian causes a full-on riot in the prison. That's what they chant, One Way Out. And then a Wrong Ride holo. Luthen Rao. And talking about that prison, there is the Imperial Prison Complex that I just mentioned. Then we have Retaliation, which I think is a pretty interesting card. When defeat a unit that dealt damage to base this phase, which isn't always what I would want to do for like attacking or dealing with my opponent's board state. Most of the time I want to deal with it ahead of time before they start attacking, but still, if you need to knock something out that turn that attacked your base, or you need to attack and then you have your opponent attack, there's some interesting things you can do with that. Shadow Crawler, Scour the Archives, ISB Shuttle, Imperial Occupier, Hutt Cartel, Starfighter, Junior Senator, Coruscant Undercity Police, Emissaries from Ryloth, Charged with Corruption, Umbarian Mobile Cannon, Hondo Anaka, business, my friend, business. Evil is everywhere. It is everywhere. Evil! Evil! Evil, evil, evil! If you're an OG SpongeBob fan, you'll know where that is from. Defeat a unit with a cost equal to or the less remaining number of villainy aspect icons among friendly units. So basically, it's just kill something with a that costs equal to the villainies you're running around. So if you're in like if you're funny enough, if you're just running like Lake Country for Revan Lake Country and just running a bunch of villainy units, this is a great way just to nuke something off the board. And then we have a holo Heroic Arc 170. We've seen the hyperspace holo of this already, but here's just a normal holo. For our next pack, we got another Lama Su, a Naval Intelligence HQ, a Chandelian Sponsor, Diplomatic Envoy, the Hani Pilgrim, Duro Commando, Assassin Probe, Contraband Starhopper, ISB Agent, Crate Veteran, Unauthorized Investigation, Corporate Warmongering, Sintakaz, Charged with Murder, Emergency Powers, when Jar Jar Binks, of course, gives emergency powers to the Chancellor so that he can have the Army of the Republic, the Clone Army. Choose a non-leader unit and pay a number of resources. For each part paid this way, give an experience token to that chosen unit. So just a way to buff up one of your units that is not a leader by a massive amount and then punching your opponent in the face with that, which is pretty nice. Pretty cool card there. And then a holo Death Trooper. Another Jumble the Hutt leader. A USCRU Entertainment District. A Atreus Acolyte from a Legends card. Nabooian Starskiff. Aldarian Envoys. Bravo Squadron Fighter. Hyperspace. Undo Commission. Inner Rim Coalition. There is the Bravo Squadron normal art. There is the showcase, or the hyperspace art. I love the hyperspaces. I absolutely love them. 100%. A Heroic Arc 170. A Republic War Walker. A Populist Advisor. Jar Jar Binks, and we got ourselves a Grand Admiral Thrawn. I've already got one legendary of him from the box as well. So we got ourselves a Grand Admiral Thrawn, normal art. This is his hyperspace art, and it looks really, really cool, all hyperspace. So anyways, Grand Admiral Thrawn, the Grand Schemer, states he's a 7/8/7 that when played, an opponent may choose a non-leader unit to control. If they do, this unit captures that unit. If they don't, you ready this unit. So it's a really fun thing that you could throw them down in your turn 7 play if your opponent doesn't have anything at all. Then you can restand and then just straight up stand them. So you have to still do the effects. You still have to be able to choose. So it's a great thing to do. Like you take an initiative on turn 7, you play him down, you target one of your opponent's units you want to take that you know for a fact is going to hurt you or attempt to win the game. Going to hurt you or anything, and then let's say they still don't have the win, but you have the win if this restands. It really becomes in that mind game of, do they give you the unit knowing that you could possibly win, or just let the unit survive? So it's really, really cool, because if they don't let this restand, he captures it. So very interesting, a lot of playability there. And then when defeated, a friendly unit captures an enemy non-leader unit in the same arena. Really good to play with the Thrawn from JTL that can double tap when defeated abilities. And also, Yellow Thrawn was a strategy being played around. And somehow we got 2 legendaries in the same pack with Sanraya San. 777. Only if she was 666. We could have made the joke of 666, the mark of the beast. She does come in hidden and on attack for each friendly unit. Ready a friendly resource. Not a great legendary. I'm more glad we got the Grand Admiral Thrawn legendary. A way more playable legendary in my opinion. But, I mean, this has its playabilities. The problem is it comes in hidden automatically, which is nice to me. Your opponent can't just remove it from battling it. I don't know what they're going to battle with it since it's a 7/7. But still, a 7/7 that can restand resources. The weird part is, yeah, what you're going to do with this is you're definitely going to swing with a bunch of your guys, burn a bunch of your resources, and then you're just going to restand those resources with Sarah Sand. So I get the playability with it. It's like you play a bunch of stuff out of your hand, and depending on how much hand you have left, that is, then you can immediately just go, swing her, restand all your resources, and then be able to swing again, or play a bunch more stuff, which is pretty nice. So some really cool playability with that. You can also do it with a lot of the smuggle mechanics, since you'll have to pay resources to smuggle stuff out and then come in with the smuggle is pretty interesting. Like, for instance, paying stuff for plot is pretty good to maybe spend with her as well, so that you get those, restand those resources, because again, the plot resources come in rested and you already have to burn the resources to play the plot cards. So there are some interesting things you could do with it. I'm not exactly sure she'll be a very playable. She does have the Underworld tag for CAD, but I don't know if CAD's going to get up to 7 resources a turn. Typically, CAD doesn't go that long into the long game. And then we have a Hyperspace Hollow Fugitive Handmaiden. This is a specialty rare card that you get in the Padme Amidala starter deck. But again, all the specialty rare cards do have printings in the main set in Hyperspace Hollow and Hyperspace Hollow. So, all right, 2 legendaries for the price of 1 right there. Now, if the average of our legendary pulls is 6, we've already pulled 3 of the 6. We have another Slymore, another one of the Entertainment District, Relief Request, Reconnaissance, Retaliation, Cruel Commandos. The clones have now become Imperial. They are no longer truly for the Republic. Even though it has the Republic, it's interesting that it's like they're Cruel Commandos, but, they're turning slowly into the Empire because they do have the villainy tag on them now. Lurking Snub Fighter, Inspector's Shuttle, Enforcer Squadron, Bogged Down in Procedures, Sith Assassin, Rebel Propagandist, It's Not Over Yet, Qi'Atreo, I think that's how you say 𝐒𝐄𝐒 𝐕𝐈𝐃𝐒. This is a card right here. I'm never going to pronounce the name right. I know he's a Rebels character. But this is a good card right now. I think it's going to see a lot of play, especially in Cad Bane, because it's got the Underworld tag of on attack, reveal the top card of your deck. Your opponent may pay 1. If they don't, you just straight up draw that card. So you can reveal a whole lot of stuff on his attacks to draw cards. And like I said, Underworld tag, I think Cad's going to be using this card 100%. We got the Punishing one, another Punishing one as well, which is pretty nice. It also has Underworld. So again, you can also flip his pilot under it. I forget the pilot. He's not coming to my mind at all. Dengar. You could put Dengar under this because Dengar just needs to be under a Underworld card. And so this unit gains raid 1 for each damage enemy unit, and then when played on attack, you may deal 1 damage to a unit, which again is pretty nice. Being able to just deal a damage to 1 unit on the board. And then a Hyperspace Foil Populist Champion. We got ourselves a Hyperspace Lamasu. So there we go, Hyperspace Leader. I do like Hyperspace Leaders. I will be looking for a showcase if you give me 1 box. Then we have MSD's Housing, Death Trooper, Consular Cruiser, Defense Fleet X-Wing, a Senator Warden Hyperspace, Imperial Occupier, Junior Senator, Hutt Cartel Starfighter, Coruscant Undercity Police, Emissaries from Ryloth, Lowboat, Kaz, Renowned Dignitaries, Mon Mothma, a 7/5/8 with Restore 3, which is really nice. And then when played, you may attack with any number of other units, 1 at a time, even if those units are exhausted. They can't attack the base for these attacks. So it's really nice. So if you have a bunch of units that you've already punched at your opponent's base, you can then play her down and then basically have all those units go after your opponent's units, which again, one at a time, being able to punch stuff is pretty cool. So you could even play this maybe like a green-red Luthen Raoul strategy, where Luthen Raoul, that turn, instead of swinging all your guys into your opponent's base, and then go Mon Mothma, and then swing all those guys into your opponent's stuff, triggering Luthen Raoul's ability at that point, which is pretty cool. And then we have a Sneaking Suspicion Hollow. I also just came up with another thing. This is actually pretty good also for the Leia from Spark Rebellion. Since she's already naturally green heroic, being able to go to Leia, swing all your stuff into your opponent's base, and using the Leia ability to swing a couple guys, and then going Mothma, again, to clean up the board. I think, in my opinion, this is a card that you're going to play a lot of if you want to swing on your opponent's base, but then use all your units again to swing on your opponent's units so that you can clean up the board and keep the board presence. But another thought to keep in your mind. C-3PO is here, everybody! So anyways, action to pay 1 tap. If you control an exhausted unit, exhaust a unit. So it's kind of just what 𝐂𝐍𝐶 𝐂𝐍𝐶 does from LOF, but 𝐂𝐍𝐶 had to burn the Force on his front side. But if you control an exhausted unit, you can just exhaust one of your opponent's units. And then on his backside, he comes out for 4, 1/6. On attack, if you control another exhausted unit, you may exhaust a unit. Basically, you have to control, so basically you can't control him exhausted. You have to control something else. But 1/6. But I like his play. I don't know how much I'm going to play him. I don't know how much people are going to play him, really. But I think there's some funny stuff you could do with this guy to specifically force your opponent to have to attack with all their guys, or have to play a card specifically to do something that turn, and then maybe lose out on that attack. So it's going to play in some mind games of what your opponent going to do with this C-3PO. Because if they leave a guy up and decide to go another card, then on your front side, you can just tap 1, pay him down, and then do it. So he's very interesting because he is already pretty cheap at a 4-costed leader. So I do know some people are probably going to play around a little bit with this leader 100%. Then we have the Amnesty Housing, Thessalian Commandos, Chandelian Sponsor, Reconnaissance, Rotunda Synagard, Duchess's Investigator, the Viper Probe Droid, Hunting Assassin Droid, Sneaking Suspicion, Clandestine Connections. I do want to try to make this card work. Undercover Operations. Ready a unit that was played this phase. If it costs 3 or less, create a spy token. I think that has some good playability, 100%. Oppression Breeds Rebellion. Another card, in my opinion, that's going to see some very good play. Especially in any deck that's aggression heroic. If a friendly unit was defeated while attacking this phase, draw 3 cards. Really good for Luthen Raoul. Really good for any deck that can play K2SO. So the K2SO can run into something, die, burn either your opponent's base for 3, or burn a card out of your opponent's hand, and then be able to draw 3 cards. Is really nice. The Premier Personal Carrier. And then we have Exiled from the Force, another Legends card. Double blue, 1 that says attached unit loses the Force trait and all abilities except for grit, and then gains grit. So basically, you could technically give this to one of your opponent's units to remove their Force tag on them so that they can't generate the Force, or that they have abilities to use the Force to remove it and stuff like that, and then they just gain grit, which again isn't great for your opponent because they do get the grit feature, but still, it's pretty cool, nice way to give grit. It is an upgrade as well, so you could put it in Lama Su to reduce the cost by it, because if you're not doing double blue, you'd have to pay for 3 for this. But still, it's a pretty cool card. And then we have Low Boot Hollow. Next on the docket, we got Colonel Yularen. You know, of course, Colonel Yularen did fight in the Clone Wars, then turned to the Empire, then turned away from the Empire to go serve the Rebellion. He was there for it all. So Colonel Yularen, action, tap him, attack with a unit, then you may attack with another unit that costs less than it. So basically, it's Leia from Spark Rebellion, but you have to, basically, you go down the chain. So if you attack with a 5-cost unit, you have to attack with a 4-cost unit. Attack with a 4-cost, you got to attack with a 3-cost. So basically, it allows you to multi-attack with units. At 5 or more resources, flip them over for 4/6, and then when this unit completes an attack and survives, you may attack with another unit that costs 4 or less, again, because that aspect is that Colonel Yularen is a 5-cost leader. He can only, just like his front side, you can only attack with a unit. a unit that costs less than him, so it's 4 or less. So still very interesting card there. I think there's some good interesting playability with Colonel Yularen. Like I said, he's a Leia Spark Rebellion leader, but the difference is that you are based on what costed leader you attacked with, costed unit you attacked with, based on what if you can attack with another unit. So very interesting. We have the Republic City, Unveiled Might, Armor of Fortune, Naboo Security Force, Chandelian Sponsor, Ando Commission, Inner Rim Coalition, Bravo Squadron Fighter, Heroic Arc 170, Republic War Walker, a Ella Kane, Sinister Chuchi, a Trade Route Taxation Hyperspace, which is pretty cool. The Blue Ace, a new card for Kazuto. Yes, a new card for Kazuto. So Kaz from JTL states that you can tap it and remove the abilities of one unit on your board state, so they don't get their abilities. So typically the Blue Ace is an 4/5 with ambush and an on attack ready and exhausted enemy unit. So if you decide to go for the ambush, you have to give your opponent, because that is still considered on an attack, ready and exhausted enemy unit, or you could just play for the 4, ignore the ambush, and then have Kaz play under it the turn afterwards, and then you could do, it is a fighter as well, so that does allow you to also then go trench run on it, because I think Kaz Red is still the best version of Kazuto. But still, it's a very interesting card. Definitely something I think people are still going to play around with, even with this on attack restriction, because people like to play the Fireball for 3/3 with ambush, and then when in the regrouping phase it deals 1 damage to itself. So this is still good. It's a 4/5 that can ambush into space. So even though it does ready one of your opponent's units, there's just something about being able to ambush into your opponent's space arena and kill that off is really nice. And then we have a Hollow Bail Organa. All right, folks, we're midway, I believe, through the box. I'm counting one side. We still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's still 10 packs. So we've actually passed halfway through the box right now. So we're nearly through the entirety of this box here. As we start with another Colonel Yularen, Rick's Road Hyperspace, Naboo Security, Armor of Fortune, Imperial Dark Trooper, a Reckless Rebel Hyperspace, Warrior of Clan Ordo, Unruly Astrek, Inspiring Senator, Let's Call It War, A-Wing, the A-Wing that is now just generic, so everybody in yellow can play the A-Wing for Raid 1, which is still worse than the 2 other A-Wings in Heroic. The Green Squadron A-Wing is a Raid 2, 1/3 for 2, and then the Phoenix Squadron A-Wing is a 3/2 for 2, which is still okay. Cornet, Vel Sathara, Crosshair, a very interesting card in special modifications. Attached to a vehicle unit. When played, attached unit is a transport, you may create a spy token. Funny enough, I joked when I was first reviewing these cards that this is a good card for like Rio Durant from JTL, because he typically wants to, when he flips over and attaches to a vehicle, he typically wants to attach to a transport, like the Millennium Falcon, like the Razor Crest, those type of transports. So very interesting card to kind of think about, especially if you're going to play a Rio Durgent deck. I think giving that extra +3 health is really nice. Plus, you do get to create a spy token. And then a Hollow Coruscant Undercity Police. We got Leia Organa. All right, a new leader here in Leia. So Leia says, action, tap 1, disclose any color besides villainy. And then you do give an experience token to a unit that doesn't share that aspect with the disclosed card. 6 resources, you flip her over. She's, of course, a 6/4/7 that states on attack, you would again disclose any color besides villainy. If you do give an experience token to a unit that doesn't share an aspect with the chosen card. So I don't know how I feel about this leader, if I'm being a little honest. Because if you say you disclose a heroic card, well, you can't give it to anything that's heroic. So you couldn't do, like, say you're doing blue Vigilance Heroic, so you couldn't give it to anything that's Vigilance, anything that's the mixed color heroic, because you disclose a heroic card, so that would share that aspect. So it's a very interesting card where it's really going to depend on how you deck build it, because of her real interesting restriction of disclosing any real color, and you can only give it to it. So if you disclose heroic, you can't give it to most of your deck, because if your deck's 2 color. So if you a lot of your cards, let's say you're running green and you have a couple of Vigilance Heroics and Command Heroics and you reveal Heroic, you can't give it to those. You share an aspect with the card you disclose. But again, you could also disclose, of course, Vigilance, and you could give it to Command. So it really just kind of matters on what you disclose. So as long as you're disclosing a mono color like Vigilance, Command, Aggression, and Cunning, and as long as you have another guy on the board that doesn't share that color, yeah, you could do it. But I think it's really going to enter into this weird deck building idea of what exactly you want to deck build around with the Leia leader 100%. So I want to kind of see what people really think about it. Personally, for me, I'm not really liking this leader. I may not even try her through the format. But who knows? I've said that before, and I've tried leaders that I would never have tried. So we have the Entertainment District and Hyperspace. Beloved Orator, the Bothonian Orthopper, Shadow Crawler, Hyperspace, and Diplomatic Envoy, Duchess of Investigators, Viper Probe Droid, Hunting Assassin Droid, Sneaking Suspicion, Clandestine Connections, Deidre Mero, Bail Organa, the Galleon, and a Darth Nihilus. So now I have 2 Darth Nihilus. I pulled one from my first box. We haven't seen Traya, we haven't seen Darth Scion, and I was hoping to see at least maybe a Darth Scion because I would like to do Red and Blue with Darth Scion and Darth Nihilus. But anyways, he's a 7/6/6. He's of course, the Legends unit. Traya, Scion, and Nihilus all got Legends treatment. All got the Legendary treatment, so they're all Legendary rares. When played on attack, deal 3 damage to a unit with the least remaining HP among other units. That does include your own. If multiple units are tied, you just get to choose one. So if you and your opponent share remaining HP, to one of your something on the board, you do get to choose your opponent's unit at that point. But if your unit is the lowest unit on the board, you have to then deal 3 damage to your own guy, which again, not bad in a blue strategy because of grit. If it's a non-vehicle unit, give an experience token to this unit. So basically, if he's draining non-vehicles, he basically can pump himself up. So the whole stick, if you've never seen Nihilus has Force Consume, so he has to consume the essence of the Force to survive from KOTOR. So that's the whole stick of his thing. He's basically dealing 3 damage, draining people's health so that he can get stronger. So pretty cool. A nice legendary to grab there for sure. And then a Daro Command Hollow. We got a Cassian Andor and the Hyperspace as well right there. There's for you all. I like this Cassian Andor 100%. This is when they are climbing the data vault, him and Jyn Erso, to get up to the top of the data vault so they can transmit the Death Star plans. A really cool scene in Star Wars Rogue One. Anyways, Cassian Andor states on his front side, each friendly units that have damage in an opponent's basis phase can't be attacked. An epic action controls 6 or more resources deployed this leader for 6/2. When he deploys for 6/2, he has Overwhelm. He's 6/2, Overwhelm. While you have the initiative, this unit isn't defeated by having no remaining HP and can't be defeated by enemy card abilities. So, he's a really cool leader. Really cool one indeed. I really want to try out some builds with him. I like the fact that he gives practically everything hidden if it attacks your opponent's base, meaning that your opponent has to then take the initiative force to destroy those units because you're basically just punching into your opponent's base and giving them a state of hidden. His backside, I feel, is really going to come into question of when exactly do you flip him. Because say, for instance, you're playing into a Vigilance deck, Vigilance can easily just go Perilous Positions, and because that automatically rests him and gives the -2, as long as you contain the initiative, he's alive. But the second your opponent takes the initiative, and they'll quickly do it, he's just straight up dead, and he goes back to his leader zone, burnt his epic action. I could see some things where basically you play cards to try to buff him up with the health, like some plot cards to help him buff him up when he flips over for 6. But nonetheless, I think he's a really cool leader. I think, honestly, I want to give him a try because I think there's something you can do with this leader, especially because he flips for 6 damage. So basically, if you can just flip him and he can survive, your opponent does, as long as you have the initiative. So even if your opponent goes and hits him with 4 damage or anything like that, he doesn't die because I still have the initiative. I just swing and I can win the game that way. So, like I said, I really want to try out this leader 100%. I think he could be a pretty fun leader indeed to play around with and see what people are going to build with him. Republic City, Death Trooper, Unveiled Might, Defense Fleet X-Wing, the Cruiser, Political Bully, Reckless Rebel, Trade Federation Delegates, FN Trooper Corps, Again, another really good card for, of course, if you're a First Order player with Phasma, there's another card for you. Republic, our Starfighter, of course, for the Legends. Grindian, or Garden, the spy from A New Hope. When played, name a card, look at your opponent's hand, and discard a card with that name from it. So basically, it's really nice if you can get him out with the plot, or you have a way to look at your opponent's hand. This is a pretty good card just to start ripping your opponent's hand to pieces. And we do have cards that can do that. Now let's say Mina Bonteria and the Fulmentrix. This is the card on the art of Bombardment, the JTL legendary that deal 8 indirect damage to your opponent. If you control a capital class vessel, deal 12 indirect damage to your opponent. So this is the art on the card. Originally, that's the ship on that card. I originally thought the arts were the same, and I was going to scold FFG for getting a little lazy with their arts. No, it's a completely different arted card. This one, a completely different art, but again, a really good card for kind of Piet Red. We saw Piet Red kind of make a really good splash in the LOF meta. This is another really good ship for it. When played on attack, you may deal 4 damage to a ground unit. Since typically, a lot of times, Piet really doesn't have a ground presence. This is just a great way to help deal with the ground presence altogether. So, really cool ship. It gives you another capital class vessel as well, so that you can manipulate, of course, Bombardment. And then we have Political Bully Hollow. Bail Organa, our second official leader in the game that does not have an epic action. So, Bail Organa states, action, tap him. If a friendly unit was defeated this phase, return a friendly resource to its owner's hand. If you do, put the top card of your deck into play as a resource. So basically, he's kind of what Hunter does. If you've seen Hunter from Shadows of the Galaxy, we've actually had a couple of our local videos with Hunter as well. So, Hunter can pay 1 tap, and then as long as you choose a guy with a unique name on the battlefield, you take one of your resources. You look in your resources, grab an exact card of that name. So, say for instance, you had Luke Skywalker from the LOF, and you wanted to grab Luke Skywalker from Spark Rebellion, you just grab that right to your hand, which is pretty nice. So again, as long as you had something die this turn, which means again punching over your opponent's stuff, you can tap 1, pay him, and then grab a resource from your hand. So basically, if you needed to, late in the game, you've put away some big costed guys into your resources and you need to grab them back. Now you can grab them back to your hand. And then to bring him out on his backside, action, discard 2 cards from your hand. If you control 4 or more resources, deploy this leader, which again, as long as you have 4. And then on his backside, when you play a card from your resources, heal 1 damage from base. So basically, when you plot or play Smuggle, heal 1 damage. What are my thoughts on Bail Organa? I think he's cool. I think we got another cool, interesting leader that can do things that doesn't need an epic action that's another leader that doesn't have an epic action to come out. But the big problem I have with Bail Organa is that discard 2 cards. Meaning that you're going to need to run an engine of drawing. Not that it matters. We do have Oppression Breeds Rebellion, which allows you, of course, if one of your units dies, you can then draw 3. So that would put you in the red archetype. But yeah, I mean, I really don't know. I really don't know. I mean, you could do like double green with him, then you get command, then you could always use command again and again because of, you could always just put it as a resource and then you can grab it back as a resource and then put it back in as a resource. So there's that. I don't know. I think what the big caveat that I have with him is that discard 2 to then flip him over. I don't really know. It doesn't feel great with me to do that, but still, I do like the recycling on him because it is really nice that you can put the high cost stuff in your resources and then maybe you get lucky enough to survive long enough where you can grab that card out of your resources. So it is very interesting. So even though you discard 2, putting stuff into your resources and then grabbing it back with him isn't all that bad now really thinking about it. Like you could put like the stuff you don't want to discard to then flip him into your resources, and then if you need to get it back later, just tapping it to get it back. So there is that all together. So it's kind of interesting. We'll kind of have to see maybe what people want to play with him. I'm not sold on this leader really, but still, I've said that before, and then I get sold on a leader. Then we have the Imperial Prison Complex, Rotunda Senegard, Nabooian Star Skiff, Eldarian Envoys, Imperial Dark Trooper, Warrior of Clan Ordo, Unruly Astromech, Inspiring Senator, Let's Call It War, A-Wing, Charged with Espionage, Charged with Corruption, Wilro Hood, Nuke Gunray, which again is 3/3/3/4 with grit, and then when played on attack, you may give another official unit Sentinel for the phase, which isn't too bad. So if you're playing in like a Colonel Yularen deck or anything like that, because it felt like really a lot like officials. You can also give spy tokens are also officials as well. I don't know if this is a spy. There it is. So a spy token can also be an official as well, as it has right there. So basically, if you can create spies, basically you can just give a spy token Sentinel for the phase, which is pretty nice. And we got a Queen Amidala Hollow. Nom, 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 nom. Nice looking, nice a hollow right there. First one of this one as well for me. So Queen Amidala, a really good card in my opinion to play with Mon Mothma. 5 for 5/3. When played, create 2 spy tokens. If damage would be dealt to this unit, you may defeat another friendly unit that shares a trait, either Naboo or official. And we do have like the Nabooian Star Skiff. We have the, I believe the N1 fighters like Bravo and N1 are also have the Naboo trait on it. So that helps. I believe I don't think we have one. Oh, right there. So right there, Naboo. So you have a Naboo trait right there that you can do. Trait with a unit, you do prevent that damage. So basically, you're killing off your other officials or other Naboo stuff to keep her around. And again, since she creates spy tokens, the spy tokens can easily be killed off as well for her to survive on the battlefield. So you could swing a spy token if someone swings at her, and she can still do the 5 damage back. She just does not. She just prevents the damage from coming after her. So basically, as long as you have a spy token, when your opponent swings at her, she can still trade back 5 damage to your opponent. But you could just kill like any official or any Naboo on your board to basically keep her alive. So this kind of does facilitate the effect of making a bunch of spy tokens so you can survive her. So it's a card I 100%, when I first read it, was 100% thinking Mon Mothma. Mon Mothma, so that you can just kill officials and then basically keep her alive, and because your opponent may just swing 5 at her or that, which is pretty nice. But nonetheless, pretty cool card, another legendary for the box. Now, based on what we know and what I had for my first box, we already have 5 legendaries from the box. We should only average about 6 legendaries, so we should only expect at least 1 more legendary from the box. But again, Queen Amidala came in the hollow spot, and then for some odd reason, we also got a Thrawn in a spot that he shouldn't have even been in, and because again, the pack breaks down to typically 9 commons, 3 uncommons, 1 rare, legendary, 1 premium foil. So we actually got an extra card in a spot that he shouldn't have been in with Grand Admiral Thrawn. So we'll have to see what we come out with in the final. We got Deidre. Okay, this is actually a leader I 100% was gonna try as one of my first leaders for the set, 100%. So, Deidre states on her front side, action, tap 1, pay 1 tapper, choose an enemy unit. Its controller may deal 2 damage to it. If they don't, draw a card, flip her over for 4. While you have more cards in your hand, your opponent, this unit gains raid 2. So, my whole shtick, what I was going to do with her, easy. If you don't want me to do the ping damage to you, I'm just going to draw a card. I'm just going to do her in blue and just play straight up aggression, villainy, vigilance, control. That's what I was going to straight up do with her. I like the front side 100%. I feel like a lot more people are going to sit on the front side to constantly force your opponent to either take the damage or you draw a card, which again, it's pretty nice. And then not too bad on the back side to go to raid 2 so you can do 4 damage. So, but still, I think a lot of people are just going to play her on her front side to get that, to do that ping damage. Like I said, because since I wanted to play it a lot more in control, being able to tap 1 and target something, and if they don't want to take the damage, giving you an extra draw in a control strategy is 100% very powerful indeed. So I like this leader. Definitely one of the leaders I'm going to be trying out 100% at my first locals, maybe even our first unlimited video for us as well. But she's probably going to be one of the first leaders I take to my locals. Naval Intelligence HQ. Then the Obdorian Thornthopper. Beloved Orator, Nimble Prowess, Rexarian Assembly. It's our new Surprise Strike, everybody. Accelerate our plans, exhaust a friendly unit. If you do attack with another unit, it gets +3 for the attack. So Surprise Strike nor Waylay have been reprinted we'll have to see if they get reprinted in set 7. If not, those cards will be away, and we'll have Biguel and Accelerate Our Plans as our Surprise Strike at home and our Waylay at home. So, it's okay card. Waylay right now, Surprise Strike and Waylay are still just the 2 better cards. Covert Operative, Rebellious Functionary, Regulations Bureaucrat. Again, like I said, the Rebel Pathfinder did get a reprint in here. We got Aggressive Negotiations, BTEMO, Faith in Friends, which again, I think a lot of people are just going to do for the top part to search the top 3 cards of your deck and then draw one. If you get lucky revealing triple Cunning and 2 Heroic so that you then can create 2 Spy tokens, be my guess, but I don't know how many people are really going to do that. We have Vice Admiral Rampart. So again, on attack, you may disclose 2 command and villainy. If you do, you can experience token to each up to 2 other units. So pretty cool card there. I could definitely see this maybe going into like a Tarkin build, like going back and playing Tarkin from Spark of Rebellion, because again, Tarkin gives stuff to Imperial units, and then maybe doing something with that, but still, pretty neat. And then a Naboo Security Force Hyperspace Hollow. We got a Deidre, Rix Road, Treyas Acolyte, Ferex Uprising, Scour the Archives, Political Bully, Reckless Rebel, Trade Federation Delegates, FN Trooper Corps, Republic Arik Starfighter, Accelerate Our Plans, Umbarian Mobile Cannon, Hundo Anaka, Hapless Advisor, a Topple the Summit. So it's a deal 3 damage to each damage unit, which is pretty nice. I mean, if that's a great way to kill off stuff for 5, but it does have plot as well. But is it a good card? Not really. I think it's a neat card for what it can do. So if you can ping damage a whole bunch of stuff on the board and then bring it out and deal 3 damage to each one of those damaged units, it's pretty neat. I'm just kind of hesitant to say it's a good card, but still, it's a neat card. That's what we'll say. It's a neat card. And then we have a Hollow Kazuto. So this is it, folks. Our final Cassian Andor pack. Let's see what we got in Cassian. What does he give us as for the leader? Oh, Organa. We've already seen this leader. We've seen the Entertainment District. So what else do you got for us, Cassian? Jade Squadron Patrol, With Thunderous Applause, Lost Jedi, Enforcer Squadron, Bogged Down in Procedure, Contempt for Culture, Contraband Starhopper, Biguel, Sith Assassin, Slymore, Crucible, The Tempest, and another legendary in the Vutan Pala. I've got now 2 of these as well. A very interesting legendary, and I like the writing on this legendary 100%. I think they need to do more of this writing and more legendaries or more cards need to do this style. So, it's a 9/7/7. This unit costs 1 less for each friendly droid unit in play. So if you can get a spam of droids, even like a token strategy of droids, then you can bring this out cheap. For each friendly droid unit, it may be exhausted to pay costs as if it were a resource. I absolutely love this. Is this card playable? That's up for debate. What I love most about it is that ability right down there. Each friendly droid unit may be exhausted to pay the cost if it were a resource. I absolutely love that ability 100%. That is a downright amazing ability. I need more cards with that printed ability. And our final card will be a Hollow ISB Agent. So that's pretty much it. Our legendaries, we have 6. If that's the average a box should give you is 6, then we've hit our legendary count, but that doesn't mean anything. We could still maybe pull 1 more since, again, we had a legendary in the Hollow department. C3PO, a Hyperspace Republic City, Darrow Command, Jade Squadron Patrol, Gonk, Power Droid, Grassroot Resistance, Hyperspace, Covert Operative, Rebellious Functionary, Regulations Bureaucrat, Rebel Pathfinder, Enforcer Squadron, Jar Jar Binks, Undercover Operative, Oppression breeds rebellion. And we did get another legendary in Darth Scion. Yes, so we got 7 for this box. That is very nice indeed. Very nice indeed. A Darth Scion, like I said, I wanted to do red and blue with Nihilus and Darth Scion. So Darth Scion is a 5/5/5. When played, get an experience token to this unit for each enemy unit that was defeated this phase, which might not happen depending on how the phases, how your attacks went for that turn. And then when defeated, this unit had 7 or more power returned to its owner's hand. So it's very easy to do this in with Revan, because if it does kill something, Revan can give it those experience tokens to it, as well as, since Revan has access to Malak, Malak can then kill something, and then Darth Scion could get an experience token for the turn he comes down and played. So it's always kind of interesting. So a really cool legendary indeed. I'm glad we got one of them. And then we have a Viper Probe Droid Hollow. Our last Mon Mothma pack. What does it hold? It holds a Leia Organa Leader. And then it holds a Republic City. Then it holds a Daro Command, Knowledge and Defense, Diplomatic Envoy, Rotunda Synagard Hyperspace, Corellian Hounds, Lurking Snub Fighter, High Command Counselor, Strike Force X-Wing, something I really want to play around with Luke from JTL, Lone Shark, Soulless One, Creditor's Claim, Mos Mata, New Gunray, and a Hollow Phyrex Uprising. Second to last pack here, folks, and it is a Jabba pack, and Jabba holds for us a Luthen Ral Leader, and then a Mount Tantus, Knowledge of Defense, Destrelian Commandos, Nimble Prowess, Budget Scheming, Bogged Down in Procedures, Contempt for Culture, Contraband Starhopper, Biguel, Sith Assassin, Primor Personal Carrier, the Cornet, Vel Sartha, another Vice Admiral Rampart, and then a Republic War Walker. Hyperspace Hollow there for you all. Final pack of the box, a Jabba the Hutt. Let's see what Mr. Jabba the Hutt has for us. Is it going to be a showcase? Is it a showcase? Boom! No, it's a Slimer. No showcase leader from the box. I will never pull a showcase leader from a box. I will only be able to pull them from Carbonites now. Amnesty Housing, Dogmatic Shock Squad, Cruel Commandos, Congress of Malistrate, Gonk Power Droid, APS Loader, Sudden Ferocity, Skyhopper Cannon Runner, Grassroot Resistance, Ambition's Reward, Muckraker Crab Droid, Wrong Ride. This is a card right now that I really want to try out with a Piet Blue strategy, is the Cantwell Arrestor Cruiser. When played, you may disclose 2 Vigilance and 1 Villainy. If you do, exhaust enemy unit, that unit can't ready while this unit is in play. So very interesting card, 100%, because you can target the leader with it and then freeze the leader with it. So it's pretty cool. Then we have an Arrest, which again, a base captures a non-leader unit. At the start of the regrouping phase, the owner rescues it. So the base now captures stuff, everybody. And then we have an Ebon Hawk Hollow. Well, folks, we walked away with 7 legendaries in this box, with Darth Scion, Volta Impala, Queen Amidala, Darth Nihilus, Sarasan, the Grand Admiral Thrawn, and then Let's Talk. So would I have wanted some other ones? Yes, I wish this had been like an Obi-Wan Kenobi. Maybe I would have wanted the Darth Traya, but still, the legendaries we got are still very, very nice indeed. But with that said, guys, let me know down in the comments your thoughts on the opening of this box of course, Secrets of Power. What are your thoughts on the SEC format coming up? What are your thoughts on the cards from the SEC? What's the first deck you are building? I'm either going to do Sabe double yellow, or Sabe red, or I'm going to do Mon Mothma, or I'm going to do Deidre Vigilance. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments on what decks you guys are going to first try out in the SEC meta. What cards are you most excited for SEC? What legendaries you hoping to open for your own boxes? And what legendaries you think are going to hold some good value? I think Grand Admiral Thrawn's going to hold value. I think some of the KOTOR cards are going to hold some value for a little while. I expect that Obi-Wan Kenobi to hold some value. So yeah, let me know all that down in the comments. And while you're commenting, do make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you can notify when my videos go live for you. And we'll see you next time on Mom Dragons TCG.